The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
There'll be spectacle, there'll be fantasy, there'll be daring do and stuff like you would never see.
Be a movie, yeah, we're gonna be a movie,
Starring everybody
and me. There'll be heroes bold, there'll be comedy, and a lot of fuss that ends for us real happily. Be a movie, we can watch it all develop, starring everybody
and me. We'll take the world and set it on its ear.
Come on, join in. We're gonna start right here.
And we are going to start right here. Hello, and welcome to the second triple feature in as many days. I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And I am joined by great Roman citizen to one and all, Podcastus Interruptus. But for you Americans, he is Robert Winfrey. How do you do, sir?
I am a consul of Rome, sir. I will accept no higher title than that.
Excellent. Sucktember is up and running, and this
isn't it?
And this is where we catch up on movies we did not review for the last 8 months. So yesterday, Jesse and I looked at some animated movies that have come out this year, but I saved the best for Robert Winfrey because he only deserves the best. He is good to his mother. He's an American patriot. He's a genius and a scholar and a good boy.
Well, the first two of those things you said were correct.
So tonight we are talking Queen of the Ring, F1, and Magazine Dreams. Yes, tonight's triple feature is about bodies turned into currency, fought over, driven to the edge, and sculpted into impossible ideals. We're going to open tonight with Queen of the Ring, Ash Avildsen's new biopic of Mildred Burke, starring Arrow star Emily Bett Rickards.
There's no such... Those are like deeply incompatible terms, sir.
Arrow being, as popular as Cheers at the time. Burke was just a wrestler. She was the first $1 million female athlete, the longest reigning women's world champion, and a single mother who forced her way into a sport that didn't want her. Rickards trained with real wrestlers like Kamille and Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm to be exact, to capture not just the bumps and holds, but the physical revolution Burke embodied. It's a film about blood, sweat, and every ounce of will it takes to demand equality through violence in the ring. From there, we drive on over into Michael Mann's F1, a story of speed, ego, and mortality.
I'm sorry, wait. I apologize for interrupting you on this one.
Uh-huh.
Did you just say Michael Mann's F1?
I fucked that up.
He's dead.
Joseph Kosinski.
I think Michael Mann's dead. I know I got to confirm that.
From there, we slide into Joseph Kosinski's F1. I fucking fact-checked the first one because it fucked that one up.
No, okay, sorry. Nope. Michael Mann is not dead yet. Still kicking around, but I knew he didn't direct this, so...
He must be involved in some way that it made... or it got confused with something else.
You rely far too heavily on a language model generator.
Again, I caught the first mistake and fixed it. I didn't check the second one. That's on me. From there, we slide into Joseph... I'll fix it in post. From there, we slide into Joseph Kosinski's F1, a story of speed, ego, and mortality. If Burke's ring was Kosinski's is the racetrack, where every corner can kill you and every victory requires putting a body and machine in perfect sync. It's about men who turn themselves into missiles, knowing one wrong turn means fire and death. And then we close with Magazine Dreams. Jonathan Majors, he's actually in the movie. I checked this time. Jonathan Majors' portrait of a bodybuilder dissolving under the weight of his own ambition. His body is a weapon. His physique is calling card. The more he sculpts himself into perfection, the further he drifts in from humanity. It's a movie about the cost of being seen and what happens when recognition never comes. Taken together, these films form a grim but riveting arc. The wrestler, the racer, the bodybuilder. Three people who make their bodies into tickets to fame, to survival, to love, only to discover the price is higher than they ever imagined. So Did you?
If I may grade your AI,
Yeah.
work on that one.
Listen, let me tell you how that piece of particular slop was me knowing that I'm not going to use it for the TikTok, so I didn't really care, but I still wanted the intro.
But
And
look,
it's a lesson in making sure I actually fact check this stuff.
it's not just the fact checking, it's a little bit that. Like, we're happy to tell the AI it does a good job or a bad job when it summarizes stuff on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So AI, Mark's assistant, whatever he calls it these days.
Fancy. Call it by its name. Call you by
No.
your name, and you're less human.
Only every other day. Bad AI. That
Yeah.
was inaccurate on many levels, especially about magazine dreams. I'm shocked you could read that with a straight face. You watched the movie, man, same as I did.
You know, so when I started doing these intros for the triple features, it was more of I was very heavily involved in the process. Like, if you go back and listen to the Barry Levinson one, or even the one that we did with Joel Schumacher or Terry Gilliam, I was like, I want this, this, and this. I know what I want already, and it's good giving me what I want. And then, and then we go through the editing process, and I have a script that I will stand by. I did none of that here. I really didn't. I literally was like, I just want to fucking do an intro, and I don't really care how it sounds. So, because I know that, because this is basically Damn You Hollywood with 3 movies. I know I'm going to get something good if you'd ever let me get there somewhere tonight. I don't need it to do what it did. So, but lesson learned again, to resist the urge to be lazy is really the moral of this story.
The power of these large language models and things of that nature, again, this generative technology, it works as a force multiplier for what you do. It is not a replacement for what you do.
Yeah, this time it multiplied by 0.
Yeah.
So,
divided by 0, really, is kind of what happened there on the...
All right, let's
sucked into a vortex.
So, we didn't do Queen of the Ring. It came out in early spring, and we were doing other stuff at the time, probably like Minecraft or something. I don't remember when specifically it came out. But from about March till last week, we went, I think, almost every single week with Damn You Hollywood. There was always something.
Give or take, yeah.
And in some cases, because of Alexis, we went twice. So
and if there wasn't a Damn You Hollywood, it was a triple feature that you'd already long had set up, and this was something we could easily put off.
Yeah, so I decided I actually wanted to pair Queen of the Ring with the Smashing Machine, but there's a bunch of reasons why that's not going to happen, and the Smashing Machine's getting its own show. Needless to say, I was like, okay, well, we'll put that off. We'll get to it somewhere later in the year as a catch-up triple feature. F1 also came out the same time as something else, and we whiffed the ball on that one.
We missed the ball on that one. That's entirely on us. We really should have hit that.
Was that Megan? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I'd have to double check, but it was something that neither of us was especially interested in, if memory serves.
I did not think it was going to do as well as it did.
We really should have. That's one of those that sometimes we get it wrong and we understand that it's part of what we do. Sometimes you're just going to get stuff wrong. Sometimes you go, we really should have got that one right. That's one of those that I think we should have got right.
I'm trying to find where all these, it would help. You know what? I have the actual release dates. So Queen of the Ring came out in March. So that was opposite Mickey 17. And my God, look at the fucking list of fucking movies that came out at the same time. There was no way we were ever going to get to this.
Yeah.
So it was up against Mickey 17, The Electric State, which we didn't even do until weeks later. In the Lost Lands, Plankton the movie, which I know you wanted to do. On Becoming a Guinea Fowl, Fuck, Marry, Kill, Ephus, Queen of the Ring, Rule Breakers, and Bloat. That was that. And then I think the following week was Novocaine. The following week was Snow White, and then A Working Man. So yeah, we were chock full in May. This came out. F1 came out June 27th, which I think again was Megan. I will double check now.
Yeah, we got that wrong. We should. I mean, you and I didn't have any attachment to Megan. We kind of did it because Jason wanted to.
Well, it was two things. It was we'd already done the first one, so I was committing to consistency. So it's like we did the first one. Let's do F1. So there's where counter programming really fucked us. And then after Megan was Jurassic World, so there was again no time to do F1 because then there was Superman. Then I Know What You Did Last Summer. Then Fantastic Four. So that's that. And then Magazine Dreams,
a 2023 movie,
a whole other fucking story. It's Magazine Dreams was made. It toured the festival scene, and then right as it was about to get its wide distribution release, he gets in trouble for assault and domestic violence.
Jonathan Majors, has his issues.
So it got pulled for a long time, and it just sat on the shelf. And then when his charges cleared, and he was at least potentially a bankable star again, they released it. But by that point, if anyone had cared about Magazine Dreams at all, they certainly didn't care now. And it went into theaters and out, and nobody gave a shit. Not a single
And it streams allegedly somewhere, and still nobody cares. You and I are the only people I've ever seen mention this or potentially talk about it.
Yeah, it filled the slot. It filled the slot the smashing machine was going to get. So, but I was also curious about it. Like I was legitimately curious about this movie because I had heard good things about it. It was like it's making the festival scene. But so here we are. Let's get into Queen of the Ring. So it actually came out in 2024. It made the festival scene then. Again, it's about Mildred Burke, directed by Avildsen. Aside from starring Emily Bett Rickards, it also stars Josh Lucas,
doing the same character he always does.
Tyler Posey, Francesca Eastwood, Deborah Ann Woll, who you may remember from Daredevil, Cara Buono, and Walton Goggins. And then there's like a fucking host of like wrestlers in this from all over the place.
Well, yeah, because they work cheap.
And Martin Cove and Jim Cornette. I love it. Jim Cornette's in this. I was very happy to see him. Because I remember him talking about filming Queen of the Ring, and I had forgotten that he was in until I saw him as like the head of the NWA. And I was like, it's Jimmy Cornette. So anyway, you want to do the plot, be my guest, and then we'll get into this.
Yeah, again, we kind of follow Mildred Burke, who decides she wants to become a wrestler, finds a bunch of helpful people willing to just talk about the business of professional wrestling, even though this is the 30s.
Yeah, this is when wrestling was still on the carnival circuit.
And no one in the stands would talk with you the way anyone talks with her.
Please save that for the craft review. Because
I will. I'm just
saying
this
movie. She gets she gets people to train her as a wrestler, and then she harasses Josh Lucas to take her on the road, which he does. Go.
Yeah, and he plays Billy Wolf, and he's a scumbag because that's the only character that actor plays, pretty much.
Like, right, he's a wrestling promoter.
That too. Actually, by wrestling promoter standards, Billy Wolf was on the more scrupulous side.
Yes, he paid people, from what I understand.
It's true. And by all accounts, all of his sexual encounters were consensual. So, thumbs up, buddy. By all accounts, again.
They were consensual, I'm sure, in the way all casting couch are consensual.
Yeah. And
not that I'm complaining, I'm just like, let's just call the beast by its name.
No, you're right. And we just have to accept that that's consensual. Otherwise,
yeah, no.
We're trying to legislate a whole other thing anyway.
Yes, sir.
So she goes on the carnival circuit. More women are drawn into this because girl power. There's some weird laws on the books, like you can't some places don't let women wrestle at all. Some places it has to be a man against a woman, but there's some size requirements, and some of it's a work, some of it's presented as a shoot, and then we finally get some of those laws overturned so women can wrestle women. And Toni Storm shows up, and there's a big split. It turns out again, this Josh Lucas is a scumbag, so he cheats on his wife. And they have a big acrimonious split, and she's kind of in love with his kid, which is a stupid subplot. She eventually becomes a champion by shooting on Toni Storm. And Deborah Ann Woll dies at one point because Billy Wolf is unsafe and wrestling's dangerous, and it's a big like pseudo heroic Rocky story by the end of it with Mildred Burke wrestling Kamille until she's just dead on the stool. Like, I can't get up. My legs are gone. I'm blown up more than the Ultimate Warrior. I'm done. And James M. Cornette stands up and goes, I am the commissioner of the NWA, and we take this very seriously. And if she can't answer the bell, then she forfeits the title, and she forfeits the title. And
because at the time Mildred Burke has the title, so the way he phrased it, I thought was interesting. If she can't answer the bell, then she can't win the title. Therefore, the title stays on the champion. But at the time, it was one of these contested title things, like who is the real champion, and it's kind of decided that Mildred Burke's belt is the one and only NWA women's title, and so this is to sort of settle that because they had split and created a new belt, and it was a whole thing. And this is before they were hanging them from the ceiling and having ladder matches. So, and we're still doing 2 out of 3 falls, and we get to the 3rd fall, and yeah, Kamille, who's playing what was it, Judy, fuck, what was it?
I don't know.
June something or other. June Byers. Yeah, can't answer the bell. So, therefore, tie goes to the winner. That's the end.
Sort of. Yeah, and then we get our big post-credits thing about, hey, here's what happened to some of these people in real life. Like, Billy Wolf was a scumbag, but he was actually the only person who promoted women's wrestling and kind of brought it into the forefront. So, complicated figure. And Mildred Burke was a single mother and did all these great things, and she was inducted into the Hall of Fame posthumously because she died in the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
And Mae Young is here because she's a lesbian.
Why are you so angry? Like, Jesus Christ.
And she was inducted into the Hall of Fame and wrestled until she was in her 80s, all of which is true.
And Bubba Ray Dudley put her through several tables in ecstasy.
And she told him every time, don't you sugarcoat it, you
You fat fuck. Lay it into me.
pretty much.
Yes, ma'am. All right. My biggest problem with this movie, we kind of alluded to it a few minutes ago, is instead of playing it as it would have been, they'd have died before anyone would have admitted anything's a work. Like the fact that wrestling is a work was like the best kept secret besides who shot Kennedy for the longest time. And the reason why wrestlers speak the way they do is because of its carnival roots. And its carnival roots have their own language because everything was about getting over on the marks, and the marks was the audience. Like, I don't think people understand what the motif behind carnival shows was. They were essentially, and I'm going to use words, and you're going to argue with me because you're pedantic. Don't. They're kind of magic shows. Like, we're going to create illusions because illusions are fantastic and people pay for fantasy. And that's carnivals in like the early 20th century. Late 8, probably even further back, but I don't know completely the history of carnivals. I think it goes well back into the 1800s. So wrestling is a part of that. If you watch any like the wrestling documentaries, they would have like a strong guy, and then they would have plants in the audience, and then and it would be like take on so and so or whatever. And sometimes it was like legitimate, and then other times they were like, no, just put on a show because we want people to think it's legitimate, but it really isn't. That was participating alongside actual collegiate style Greco-Roman wrestling, which was boring as fuck to most people, and why they started bringing in sort of the carnival stuff and made it quote unquote fake, because no one liked real wrestling. It was boring. It was like watching a George St. Pierre fight. Now you may insult me.
You are far too far removed from actual contemporary MMA fandom or anything remotely comparable to it to even begin to dig at me when it comes to that. Not even close.
I just trying to pinch your.
I look down on your references to MMA like the pitiful hoi polloi.
Oh my God. Get this out of your system, please.
If you wanted to make that joke, there's at least 3 major two champions right now, actually, you could have done it with, but you don't know who they are because you don't watch the product. So I could not possibly care less.
Good. Moving on. Anyway, I amused myself, and that's really what's important here.
Uh-huh.
So the point of me bringing all of that up is the filmmakers don't seem to know any of this. They kind of know Mildred Burke's story, and they worked it up so that it would be appealing to a general audience and anyone that might be interested in this story. And I kind of hate that. What Darren Aronofsky does with The Wrestler is acknowledges this is a secret society, and these people talk a certain way at certain times, and then doesn't overdo that. Same thing with Iron Claw. The Iron Claw very much stayed within the boundaries of what was realistic about wrestling at that time in terms of how people acted. Here, this sounds too much like modern wrestling.
Yeah, a lot.
There's too much talk about work, shoot, heel, face. When she's in the audience for the first time and she's watching Billy Wolf wrestle, and his son who's in front of her is like, well, he's the heel, and that's a face. Oh, a face is short for big. No one talks this way. Not then. Not at that time. They were called baby faces because it was the parlance of the people who spoke in that time, but anyone could have been called a baby face. Like that, that guy over there, he's got kind of a baby face. You know what I mean? Like wrestling kind of adopted the language of the Midwest, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And it really fucking bothered me. It took me right out of the movie. Which that's me being a lifelong wrestling fan and a fan of wrestling documentaries. I don't know how many other people are going to get bothered by that. I guarantee you if I could watch this with my girlfriend or my kids, they'd have been like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, there's another scene later on where they're at some fancy party doing, schmoozing. And Mildred Burke is talking with one of the other women there. And she goes, so fantasy pays real well, huh? And she does the modern wrestling defense, which is not what you would do in this time period at all.
Dr. Schultz, I believe it was.
Dave Schultz,
yeah. When Dave Schultz was confronted in a similar way, legit hurt somebody.
Yeah, John Stossel.
Yeah.
He slapped the crap out of him.
Is that fake, motherfucker? Here's the thing. Wrestling history is littered from
Vader wound up in a Kuwaiti jail.
Yeah, littered from the lowest of the low fucking indie thing to the WWE of story upon story for 100 years of wrestlers being told, "Isn't it fake?" and them reacting by killing a guy. That's it every single time. No one has ever in the history of pro wrestling handled this well. There's no fucking... She'd have fucking stretched that woman or walked away. That's what... Those are her options at that point.
Pretty much. And, of course, again, she does the modern wrestling defense because this, as a script, this is embarrassed to be about wrestling.
Yeah.
It wants to tell the empowering story of a single mother at this period of time.
Right.
And with a minor detour into race relations, because, of course.
Well, it wants to celebrate the life of Mildred Burke, but it doesn't particularly like wrestling.
Yeah.
That's the problem with this movie. It's very confused. I can see why nobody gave a shit about this. Because unlike the Iron Claw, which does love wrestling, the story of the Von Erichs is so sad.
The fact that the Iron Claw removed 2 major deaths of other Von Erich kids, mind you.
Those people who made the Iron Claw love pro wrestling and didn't want to experience the guttural depressingness of the Von Erichs and had to lighten it up a bit. This, as you said, is ashamed of pro wrestling, but likes Mildred Burke for some reason. Again,
we're telling a story of female empowerment, and because we're running out of first woman to do whatever stories, this is the one they landed on.
I think that's fair. This is definitely not made by people who I think truly love wrestling. It kind of reminds me of the made-for-TV Jesse Ventura movie after he became governor.
Okay.
I mean, it's better made than that piece.
I haven't thought about that in a long time, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's almost shot the same way. Did you notice they kept reusing sets?
Yeah.
This is a very cheaply made movie.
And they didn't have the budget for it, yeah, and
You cannot have the budget for something and it not look like this.
there's ways to get around it. I'm well aware.
Yeah,
and
this looks
none
like
of them will
somebody's
trust
fucking
here.
college movie.
Yeah, this is also a problem that, and I have this in general, and this is going to
Mhm.
come up when we talk about the Smashing Machine. Probably. Anytime I watch these like dramatizations of things I know a lot about, I wind up questioning so many of the choices made. Because I get that it's not going to be a one for one. It can't be. It's a dramatization. It's not a recreation. I get it. Like I'm not pulling at that, but I wind up looking at your choices like, how about we kill this Gillum, who didn't die, who outlived almost everyone else in this movie, by the way. She didn't die until 2009. Deborah Ann Wool's character. And is in fact one of the principal people interviewed about the first major documentary about women's wrestling at this period of time. So if this does interest you and you go look it up, you wind
Deborah
up.
Ann Woll died, and I believe you, but I fucking must have blinked and missed it.
Yeah, she did. Josh Lucas gets into a fight with Mae Young on the steps of some place.
Okay.
It's dumb. It's stupid. They wanted to do the bit where Billy Wolf is irresponsible by making hurt people work, and wrestling actually isn't all that. It does carry an element of danger. And so we're going to kill one of the characters, and rather than kill one of the fictional characters we thought up on the fly, here's a real one that we're going to kill. And again, who didn't die until 2009.
Yeah. I think you're right. I didn't really think about it until you said it, but I think this is very much like we want to tell this very feminist story, and we want to show the great array of different types of women and how strong they can be and yada yada yada. But we also want to talk about how hard it is for women to deal with men in a men's world. And so, you have Mildred Burke, in kind of a Clinton type marriage where it's like it's just for papers. It's in success. It's not for love. I don't hate Queen of the Ring. It's a solid, on a 10-point scale, it's a solid 5. On a 3-point scale, it's a 2. It's whatever. I was entertained by it. I think the girls look good. The wrestling doesn't look completely terrible.
Helps that they hired a lot of real wrestlers. Sure.
And it's women's wrestling in modern times isn't snug to begin with. I've watched some of these.
Well, it depends on who you're talking about. If you're talking about, Mercedes Moné, then no, there's a light year of.
But even in Clash in Paris, I saw some gaping holes in there, and it's like.
Oh, okay, no, that's Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch. You and I could do a better match than that.
Yes, and I'd be blown up for most of it. So
yeah.
But and my point is, I'm not going to criticize the movie for not being much better than modern female wrestling is on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
The sets are shoddy looking and reused over and over again. So this movie looks terrible in a lot of places. It is carried entirely by the performances, and the performances are the best thing about it. If you're into this story, the story is also very nice. It's nice to see a woman fight the odds, succeed, and come out on top in the end. If you're not into it, you're going to fucking struggle with this movie. I don't know why you watched it in the first place. I'll give you the last word and we'll move
on. There's also a giant amount of moral and historical cowardice in this movie if you want to do a lot of stuff with Mae Young, fine, because again, lesbian. But to then not talk about the fabulous Moolah at all, and bear in mind, I know she's a whole can of worms. I really do.
I'm gonna push back on that. You can't talk about Moolah; it would eclipse the entire fucking movie. Moolah needs her own movie. She's that problematic.
I'm aware. Bear in mind, I'm aware that ideally, yes, but
hang on. Do me a favor. Give the audience a minute, and I really do mean a minute on Moolah. Because people listening to this are listening for a movie review, don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And Moolah is one of the great sexual predators of the 20th century.
To the, facilitators, certainly.
Groomers? How do you want me to phrase it?
Trafficker, I think is probably more appropriate.
Fair. Anyway, out with it, Sonny.
Yeah, so the fabulous Moolah becomes one of the prominent champions for women's wrestling when she joins the federation, basically, the WWF at the time. And she travels the world. She wrestles. She holds the belt for like 20 years or something stupid. Like, not quite 20, but she holds it for a really
fucking Bruno Sammartino of women's wrestling.
She holds it for longer than Bruno held any one title. Like,
Yeah.
she holds it forever because no one cares.
Right.
But around the same time, she also trains, because this is another thing you do when you're struggling to get booked or whatnot. You train other wrestlers. So she trained a lot of female wrestlers. And to get them bookings, she said, and to, line her own pocket, she basically said, here's the promoter. Go spend the night with him. And so her wrestling stable doubled as a prostitute stable, basically.
Yep.
And she outlived all of her.
It was not always consensual.
Yeah, that's very dubious, and depending on who you listen to and certain elements of it. Yeah. And now she kind of got famous again because she outlived all of her major critics and was still willing to show up and do carny crap in the Attitude Era. So she and Mae Young.
She also earned Vince McMahon's undying loyalty when she fucked Wendy Richter, but people like she had sex with her. No. It was the Montreal screw job with women in 20 years prior.
Yeah. She helped Vince screw over Wendy Richter, and a lot of bad things about Vince. But believe it or not, a loyal guy for the most part.
Oh yeah, when you're willing to join the cult, he'll protect you. Look at the murderer, Jimmy Snuka.
Yep. So there was that, and again, she and Mae Young were willing to show up and
People
do the.
Always think we're gonna fucking hate wrestling, and it's like huge fans of wrestling. We just know all this stuff, and it's like I don't have the cognitive dissonance to be like wrestling is always amazing. It isn't. It's filled with murderers and rapists. I just also like wrestling. I can't help it.
No one hates wrestling more than wrestling fans, for the record.
That's fair.
So again, she and Mae Young were willing to show up like in their 70s and do We're the Gross Old Ladies. And we'll humiliate, Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson, and we'll do that kind of stuff.
Give birth to a hand. Real
Mae
story.
Young did that. That's true.
Yep.
And then she showed up with a guy in a hand suit, but like 20 years later when it had grown up. As like one of these big Raw anniversaries.
Let's all give Mae Young a great big hand.
So they were willing to do stuff like that. And because Moolah and Mae Young were willing to engage in that kind of, again, stupidity, they got over again, basically, and then as Moolah got closer to the end of her life and then actually passed, that's when everyone kind of like, okay, so here's the real story of this.
Yeah. So my point is, if you're trying to tell the story of Mildred Burke, unless you're doing 3 hours and you're going to devote as much time to Moolah, you can't put Moolah in the movie. You just can't. You can do Mae Young because Mae Young doesn't have that kind of problematic history to that extent. And if you're just kind of referring to her as resident lesbian, as if to say, look, here's proof lesbians existed prior to 1965. That's kind of the point of Mae Young's character. Hey, look, we've always had lesbians. Look at this one. Okay.
Again, it just bothers me a little bit that there's ways to have included her, at least in name, as a name value thing. But to have her technically be in the movie as portrayed by Mickie James as one of the wrestling students, she's on the call sheet as that, is just,
I missed that detail entirely.
It's just artistic cowardice.
Okay.
Other thing, I don't know that if I'm trying to critique the movie and help figure it out, we didn't need the subplot about black women wrestlers. It's a distraction from what's going on narratively. But civil rights, because really I feel like somewhere along the line, these people wanted to make the story about the first black female wrestling champion, so we can do because we're running out. I've made this joke has been made before, but
we're running out of the first ever.
We're running out of the black first ever in particular.
Mhm.
Like, no joke. Didn't they make a movie about like the first black collegiate swim team?
I think so. Yeah.
How desperate are we getting? Like, stop trying to reuse this trope, please.
We could have done The Fire Inside, by the way. That was the
Okay.
other. That was the other choice besides Magazine Dreams. I just want you to know that.
What's the fire inside? Hang on.
That's the fucking what's her face, the black boxer who you hate.
Oh, no, I don't hate Clarissa Shields.
Yes, that one.
It's just not a good movie. And she's
I
an
still
interesting
haven't seen
person.
it. Still haven't seen it. It was on my list of options though. All right, can we move on to F1 now?
Yeah, let's talk about the only good movie we have here.
All right, F1, not directed by Michael Mann, is a
It must have confused it with Days of Thunder, maybe.
maybe American sports drama film
Who
directed
directed
by.
a racing movie? Michael Mann did one time.
I fuck up once in a while. Leave me alone, everybody.
It's not about you.
I forget all you Luddites hate AI.
I don't hate it. I just insist that if
You hate me getting through a full sentence. I'll tell you that much. Directed by Joseph Kaczynski from a screenplay by.
Well, Tony Scott directed Days of Thunder, huh? Somebody's been yelling that at us the whole time, by the way. I just apologize for being wrong about it.
I'm sure. Written a screenplay by Hollywood's greatest monster in terms of screenwriting, Aaron Kruger. The film stars Brad Pitt as a Formula One racing driver, Sonny Hayes, who returns after a 30-year absence to save his former teammates' underdog team, APXGP, from collapse. Damson Idris, who you might know from Snowfall, is in this. Kerry Condon, Tobias Menzies, and Javier Bardem, who you may remember from his terrible role in The Little Mermaid, also stars.
No one remembers The Little Mermaid. If you remember Javier Bardem from a lot of things, it's not from that.
I know, it's been silly. Development of the film began in December of 2021 with Pitt, Kaczynski, Kruger, and producer Jerry Bruckheimer attached to the project. The latter three had previously collaborated together on Top Gun Maverick. Which, had I known that, I might have done this when it came out instead of what we did. But
You forgot that Kaczynski directed Top Gun Maverick?
completely. Supporting cast members were revealed in the early 2023 before the start of principal photography at Silverstone that July. Filming took place during the Grand Prix weekends of 2023 and 2024. World Championships with the collaboration of FIA, the governing body of F1. Racing sequences were adapted from real-life races, with F1 teams and drivers appearing throughout, including Lewis Hamilton, who was also a producer. Hans Zimmer composed the film's score, with numerous artists contributing to its soundtrack. F1 premiered at the Radio City Music Hall in New York City on June 16, 2025, and was released in the U.S. by Warner Brothers on June 27th. The film received positive reviews from critics and grossed $619 million worldwide against a $300 million budget.
It has outgrossed every superhero movie this year.
Becoming the sixth highest grossing film of 2025, the highest grossing auto racing film, the highest grossing film by Apple Studios, who doesn't have a great track record to begin with,
True.
and the highest grossing film of Pitt's career. That I did not know and was definitely worth reading. So, alrighty, hit it, Sonny.
So again, we missed the boat on this one and really should have reviewed it. But yeah, this movie follows, as mentioned, Brad Pitt as Sonny Hayes. We open with him contributing to a team winning the 24 Hours of Daytona, which is an endurance race. And then he is approached by Javier Bardem, his old racing teammate, who says, "Look, my F1 team sucks. And I just lost one of my two drivers. I got two cars, and I need some help. I need someone to help get my young, talented driver under control, and you know the ropes. And I can give you the opportunity to chase glory one more time, and please come help me. We dug coal together." And Brad Pitt goes, "Yeah, sure, I'm not doing anything else." So Brad Pitt goes to join this team. He has to reacquaint himself with how to drive a Formula One car because they're not the same as stock cars. He has friction with his younger teammate because, of course, he does. He and one of the female technicians become a thing because, of course, they do. And I say that like I'm being dismissive of it, but I'm not. They struggle to try and attain wins. Then the young guy gets injured, not listening to the old veteran because, of course, he does. Then when he comes back, there's still more friction, and then they wind up bonding, and then there's an accident, and it's revealed that Brad Pitt suffered a broken neck some 30 years ago and has like 4 of his vertebrae fused together. And Javier Bardem tells him, "You're off the team. You're a loose cannon. You can't be trusted." And he goes, come on, man. It's the last race of the season. I will sign papers that say you're not at fault. And he goes, no, you're my friend, and I care about you too much to let you continue destroying yourself like this. And then somebody else from the board, because F1 is a very expensive endeavor. And what's actually going on there is Javier Bardem sort of represents the Apex company, which has one of its arms sponsoring this whole endeavor. And Apex is not thrilled with how this has been going. And they're like, you know what? This whole thing's been a waste. We'll sell this off. Someone else will pick up the relevant, cars and the personnel potentially, and we'll be divested from this endeavor.
I'm going to interrupt you because I need to share this really quick because it's really bothering me. My friends, also jerks. You're right. F1 is directed by Joseph Kosinski, not Michael Mann. Kosinski, who did Tron Legacy, Oblivion, Only the Brave, and Top Gun Maverick, is the one at the helm. Here's where the mix-up happened. Earlier reports had Michael Mann's Ferrari, the 2023 biopic with Adam Driver, in the news cycle at the same time as Kosinski's F1 project with Brad Pitt. Both are high-profile, big-budget car racing dramas. My training data and the overlapping press mentions blurred those projects together. Mann plus Ferrari and Kosinski plus F1 somehow showed up in the same trade write-ups. When you asked about F1, my system latched onto the wrong director because of that conflation. Would you like me to rewrite your intro? No, asshole. I'm halfway through it already. Everyone, leave me alone now. I have something else I would like to share, but I will wait for you to be done.
Look, man, I'm digging at the technology, not you as an individual.
Okay.
Seriously, if I'm going to make fun of you, I'm just going to make fun of you.
Well, yes. So I make my George St. Pierre joke again and watch your fucking what's left of the light in your eyes die?
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I told you, I don't care about
Finish
your
the
MMA
plot
picks.
synopsis, you crazy person.
So what? But one of the guys on the board of the relevant company is working against Javier Bardem, and he's like, I've got another few buyers. He approaches Brad Pitt and says, look, you can't race anymore because of your broken neck, but we can bring you on as someone important in the whole process, and I got a new group that'll take over. And Brad Pitt proceeds to shut him out, and they go on to have the final race, and Brad Pitt wins. Because of course he does. And then he rides off into the sunset. Because of course he does. And he goes to race Baja Boogies. And to be fair, if any racing with a land vehicle you're going to do is going to re-aggravate and kill you with a pre-existing neck injury, Baja would be near the top of that list for me. So he's out there just trying to die.
So the lasting legacy of Top Gun Maverick, besides the fact that it was like the highest grossing movie of that year outside of Avatar 2, is that the joke from pitch meeting, you're doing a Star Wars. What's funny about that joke is one of the things that made Top Gun Maverick successful, besides the fact that it was at a time where men had very little in the theaters they could really latch on to, Top Gun Maverick was kind of it, was also because it was exceedingly familiar in all the right ways. Which is the exact same feeling I had with F1, much to its success. And I would like to share with you something that I got from, I put that in. My prompt was, the plot of F1 is really familiar if you deconstruct it. List all the movies who use the same formula. So it did. Rush, Ford versus Ferrari, Days of Thunder, Talladega Nights, Driven. Just the racing movies. Fighting, combat sports, Rocky, Raging Bull, Warrior, Creed.
Raging Bull, no.
Other sports competitions, Whiplash, The Cutting Edge, Any Given Sunday, The Karate
Whiplash
Kid.
is not a sports competition.
Not a sport, but obsessive rivalry framework, student versus brutal teacher. I'm not reading like the headings of these things. I don't want to be here all night. Broader rivalry obsession films, Amadeus, Black Swan, and Heat. My point is, one of the most successful things, probably the only successful thing about this besides the sound design of this movie, is just how familiar it really is. This is a warm cup of milk. This is a warm cup of milk and a chocolate, and a chocolate chip cookie. If you're a dude, even if you're not necessarily into racing, and I'm not, this hits you in all the feels in all the right ways. It's a manly man movie. It's a older mentor and a young buck. It's fast cars. Not a lot of pretty women in this, but we can live without it. I mean, neither did really Top Gun Maverick, except for no, I take that back. It had the beach scene. Like this doesn't have that.
I was gonna say, like Top Gun Maverick had, Jennifer Connelly and.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about like in that Michael Bay male gaze way. And then I remembered the football scene on the beach, so there's that.
Yeah, but in fairness to Top Gun Maverick, just to briefly make this point,
mm-hmm.
That's there because the film, like, you can't do a Top Gun movie without some kind of a beach sports scene.
Sure. Anyway, there's no
it's
sex.
Not quite ironic, but it's not exploited.
There's no sex appeal in F1. There wasn't Top Gun Maverick. That's one of like the major distinctions. There's a romance. There's a nice little love story there for those that are into that sort of thing, but there's no sex appeal here other than like every woman watching this is like Brad Pitt. Yes, there's for the women, sure, but I'm trying to make a comparison. Keep up with me, ladies, between Top Gun Maverick and F1, because I'm saying where it's successful is that it's familiar in the way that Top Gun Maverick was. The one major difference being Top Gun Maverick had male-centric, male-gaze sex appeal. This one doesn't. Outside of that, Brad Pitt's good. Brad Pitt's a solid actor. He always has been. He always will be. He, even if he might not be in a great picture, but he's always good. He's one of the most reliable actors working today.
Look, Brad Pitt follows the Christopher Lee advice. I've said this before. Christopher Lee famously would give this advice to any actor who ever wanted advice from him. He told them all, and one of the things he would always tell them, if you make a career out of this, you're going to be in bad movies. It is inevitable. No one bats 1,000.
You know who Brad Pitt actually reminds me of? Finish your point, but I want to finish your point and then I'll weave mine into it.
Okay. But his advice to the actors was always, the key to being in a bad movie, because you have no say over how the movie turns out, don't be bad in it. And Christopher Lee was in some bad movies, but he was never bad in anything he did. And if you're an actor, that's kind of the key.
Brad Pitt's kind of the new Harrison Ford.
Well, he's turning into Robert Redford is who he's turning into.
Well, I say Harrison Ford because Harrison Ford always kind of approaches every single character like he's this close to just not giving a shit at all. And that's kind of Brad Pitt in almost everything he's been in for the last long time. I've never seen an intense Brad Pitt performance.
You've seen 7, shut up.
I've seen one intense Brad Pitt performance. One.
Don't make me go through his filmography and hash this out with you.
No, but I'm thinking about his character in Moneyball, and I'm thinking about him in the Ocean's movies, and he's so like Harrison Ford about everything, where he's just sort of on the north side of 5. You know what I mean? Like he's just a little above even. Like he's got charm to him. He's got sex appeal. So he's got that working in his favor, charisma. But that's kind of what makes him like above a 5, above the middle ground, just average male guy. And that's kind of what he is here. But what works about it is that he's also dealing with trauma, not in the fragile male way, or learned helpless way.
Not the Adam Devine way.
Yeah, this is the kind of trauma that makes you resigned and perfectly okay to just die. If it happens, it happens. Like I'm not going to stop living, but should I die, that's the line from The Wire. I've made peace with my God. That kind of trauma. So he kind of bounces from one thing to the next, partially because, he doesn't want to commit to this dream anymore. It nearly killed him. But also because he doesn't want to really commit to anything. He just wants to drive until he dies. That's it. That's his, Sam in the bar and Cheers. It's like, this is my one true love. Which I liked. I like that for him. I like that for the story. I like that he was a contributor to this team, but he also learned from the team. He was a mentor to the Damson Idris character, but also learned from him. They made each other better, which is always good script writing. The best thing about this movie is the sound design and the car racing scenes. The cinematography is top notch. This is a wonderfully shot movie. I watched this on my iPad while eating breakfast or working on uploading music to DistroKid, and I was still it still got to me. It still shook me. The movie feels like it. I am now mad at myself that I didn't take my kids to see this in IMAX.
Ditto.
What a show it would have been.
I regret not seeing this in theaters. 1,000,000%.
You and I typically don't regret anything like that. There isn't a movie that comes out I wish I had seen this in theaters. We're okay with it for the first time in 20 years. I'm like, damn it, this one I should have seen in theaters.
Yeah.
And I say that because we see everything. So the rare miss is a who gives a fuck.
Generally, yeah.
So
look, there's not a lot of movies that are made for the theatrical experience anymore.
Right.
And this one was.
This was made to be watched in IMAX. This was made to be felt.
Yeah. So this is technically in my top 10 right now. Not because I think it's great, but because I looked at my list after I watched this movie and went, okay, am I going to knock anything out for this? Because I got some iffy choices in there at the moment. And then I counted, and I had 7.
Yeah.
And at least 2 of those are iffy. So, okay, I have empty spots to fill. This easily fills one of those spots.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible.
Yeah, the relationship between Brad Pitt and Javier Bardem, getting the male bond right, especially for older male characters, seems like something that most people in Hollywood can't do.
Well, Hollywood's short on men these days.
That's true. And these two just like a pair of old boots. And I mean, that was a compliment. Just go together.
Reminds me of our comments about the Denzel Washington iteration of the Magnificent Seven. Where we said word for word, pretty much that. It's this is how men talk to each other. Yeah.
The director in that one, that's one of the best things that I forget the director's name. I shouldn't, but I have. Because he does the same. He did the Clive Owen King Arthur movie. Mm-hmm. And the only good thing about that is the camaraderie between the knights of the Round Table, basically. Yeah. But yeah, he absolutely gets that. It's one of his strong points as a director. And here, those two get along great. The friction between Brad Pitt and the younger guy is appropriate. It makes sense. And it's never melodramatic or overbearing.
Even the relationship with the kid and his mother, and then the mother with Brad Pitt, especially after Damson Idris gets injured.
Yeah.
That could have been so much worse, and they hit.
All right, I don't know if that's Mark frozen or me. So I'm going to talk until we kind of figure that one out. So, Mark mentioned the sound design, which is really good. I'm going to give a big shout out to Hans Zimmer on the soundtrack because it's great. The score for this movie is really, really good. And let me check real fast if Mark has got back to me. Not yet. All right. So, again, the score is really, really good. Yeah, there that goes. All right, Mark will be connecting in a minute or two. Hans Zimmer doesn't ever really do bad work. This is actually pretty good, even by his standard. It's got a really nice rhythm to it. The score is the emotional heartbeat of any given movie, and this one in particular really delivered as far as that goes. There's...
Lost my internet.
Yeah, I know. I figured.
So I'm currently using my cell phone as a hotspot. Where did I leave off? Oh, the woman. Yeah. Credit where credit's due. They could have written her character as so much more shrill and stupid and would have driven everyone crazy. And thankfully, they just wrote her as a concerned mom, which is all she needed to be.
Yeah. I just said that, I wanted to give a lot of credit to Hans Zimmer for the score, that the score to this movie is really good. when you understand what film score is supposed to be. Like, I'm not going to
Mhm.
listen to it independently of anything else, but as a guiding force for the emotion and the feeling that you're supposed to get as an audience member, it's really top notch. So yeah, nothing, very little bad to say about this movie. It's really well executed. Wish we'd seen it in theaters. Wish we'd reviewed it properly. This deserved the Damn You Hollywood proper treatment.
I mean, we're not confined by time. I mean, when you say that felt Damn You Hollywood experience, just like, having the conversation about Top Gun Maverick, getting into the movie, doing a full craft review, the money, the reviews, etc. Like, or because like there's nothing stopping you from talking more about this movie. I'm not in a rush.
Okay. Well, I think you mentioned one of the giant reasons this movie's successful is it just kind of. This movie is a testament to the success one finds by playing the right notes. And by not just by doing it, but by caring about it. You asked me years ago, like, what do I mean when I say like I miss older movies, or when I like kind of dump on modern cinema? And we talked a little bit about it, and I don't think I properly articulated my point. So let me reiterate here. I don't need every movie to be The Deer Hunter. I don't need every movie to be Apocalypse Now or, whatever. I like those movies. I'm glad they exist. I do want more of them to be made. But I think the defining characteristic for me, and this is a weird thing that kind of only comes through in movies where it's true of. Even if all you're making is a fairly generic racing movie, which is what this is at the end of the day. There's not a super unique character. There's not a super unique arc. There's no subversion. There's no deconstruction. It's all played straight. It's all played sincere. And everyone cared at every step about making the movie. This reminded me a little bit, and in the similar way that like Raiders of the Lost Ark is great. It just plays it gets a little bit more credit for like breaking some ground cinematically, because while it's playing on old serials, it's like you hadn't seen a lot of that in a modern blockbuster. But what makes Raiders so great is that everyone cares a lot about every aspect of the movie making that goes into that. And that kind of leaves an impression on the film when it's all said and done. And this movie, again, this is not going to win like giant awards. There's a few I think it should be qualified for. Again, sound design, maybe score, a few other technical things. But this is not a very well written movie. It's certainly not profound. There's no acting here that like knocks you over. The direction is, good, but again, like this is not a movie that's really going to wind up like studied or immortalized in that way. But because it's just a really solid movie executed with care and attention to detail and people who, again, care about what they're doing, you get something at the end of it. The end product is just really good.
Isn't that like a funny place to be right now, where basic competence is excellence?
Everyone is so busy trying to be subversive, deconstructive, or ironic that, and we just talked about it. There's people who made Queen of the Ring like don't like pro wrestling. Consequently, that movie lacks sincerity.
Yeah.
But because they like Mildred Burke, they can't do some like irony-laden postmodern take on it either. And consequently, it winds up like fulfilling no creative vision.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you have Queen of the Ring on one side, Blonde on the other. And unfortunately, everything is siloing into one of those two categories. And there's this great big space in the middle that very few films occupy. So when they do, like old heads like me and you celebrate them. Put up F1 against movies made in the 90s or earlier, and we're not this gushy about it. It's good. It's in my top 10. Great. That's because your top 10 has no movies in it, though. This isn't really a top 10 movie. It's just well made.
Yeah, but look, is this like appreciably better than Days of Thunder? I mean, as a sincere question.
Yeah, I never seen Days of Thunder. Sorry, I haven't seen Talladega Nights either.
Well, that's fine.
Name 3 football movies. I bet I've seen them.
The Longest Yard.
Saw it.
The Waterboy.
Saw it. Why are you only naming Adam Sandler movies?
Okay. Not gonna say it. You're being serious?
Well, when you said The Longest Yard, did you mean the original Burt Reynolds one?
Wait. The choice between a Burt Reynolds movie or an Adam Sandler movie, Mark, where do you think I went?
Dude, you fucking set me up there because you went The Longest Yard. I'm like, he means the Burt Reynolds one, which I've also seen it. First of all, how do you Wildcats? I've
never heard of Wildcats.
I hate you. The one with Robin Williams and Kurt Russell. Let's play some football. That one.
Literally did not know it existed.
This is a terrible conversation. I wish I hadn't started it. The Program, Varsity Blues.
I've heard of Varsity Blues, never seen it. Okay, Friday Night Lights.
Seen it, yes.
Look, I don't watch a lot of football movies. I don't. The Replacements.
Seen it.
They're like, no, I'm floundering around for football movies today.
Okay, just because I hate this whole conversation.
Okay.
Starting at 1980. All the Right Moves. I've seen that one.
Never seen it.
Against All Odds. Saw that. The Best
Never
of
seen
Times.
it.
That's the one I was thinking of with Robin Williams and Kurt Russell.
Okay, didn't know it existed.
The Necessary Roughness. The Last
I'm aware
Boy
of that.
Scout.
I'm aware of that one because Scott Bakula's in it, if memory serves.
School Ties. The Program. Rudy.
Never heard of it.
Forrest
Never
Gump.
heard of
Little
it.
Giants.
Wait, did you just list Forrest Gump?
It's on the Wikipedia, so it counts.
Okay, no. Little Giants I've seen, yeah, because I was a kid when it came out. I was the target audience.
It also listed Jerry Maguire. The Waterboy.
Jerry Maguire is more of a football movie. I'll give you that one.
Any Given
Which I
Sunday-
also haven't seen.
Any Given Sunday, Jason and I reviewed.
I haven't seen Any Given Sunday, believe it or not. I know Al Pacino's great in it.
Remember the Titans. We've already covered.
I've seen that.
I don't remember if I've seen Monday Night Mayhem or not. Probably not.
I'm not aware of what that is.
Okay. We're into the 2000s now, and I've seen less of these.
Okay, so why didn't I name football movies from the 90s and 80s as your gripe?
Dude, even your fucking mom's up in your shit.
I said The Replacements.
Anything else, sir?
No, nothing in particular. Again, like I agree. Okay, I do have to ask. Like, did this wind up in your top 10 at the moment?
I kind of stopped rating movies like May, I think. So
Okay.
I need to go back through my list and start rating movies again.
Okay. It is a very you thing, for the record.
To get you started on something and then I abandon it?
Yes.
Welcome to my life with everybody else.
To insist that we have lists ready to go. And then to midway through the year go, yeah, I'm not making a list.
I will have a list.
I know you will have a list. I'm saying you don't keep up with it. And then by the time we get to the end, you're like, okay, here's my list. And then I go through my list and you go, oh man, I forgot about that movie.
During someone's therapy session, I will work on my list. I promise.
Depending on who you're talking to, that's a better use of your time.
Correct. Let's move on to Magazine Dream, shall we?
Oh yes, let's.
Oh boy. Magazine Dreams is what happens
with this.
Magazine Dreams is what happens when The Wire talks about bodybuilding. Magazine Dreams is a 23andMe.
Not
American.
everything is about The Wire, Mark.
It's about America, says you. It's about America. By the way, my new thing on TikTok is when I use the word reform, I just blurt out, "It's reform, Lamar," No one knows what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't even think people like understand that I'm saying the name Lamar when I say it. But
No,
funny
they
to me,
don't,
so.
because you think the TikTok generation has seen The Wire?
They haven't. I assure you of that.
They
That's
can't
what.
take it.
No. They, most Gen Zers see fucking Dookie fucking shooting heroin in a horse bar and just implode. Just fucking Gallagher themselves around the house. Anyway, magazine dreams.
But then they can seek you on BetterHelp and complain to you about how the ending of The Wire traumatized them.
All right, and then I can do something else while they talk to me. Psychological.
Oh no, you'd engage in that one.
Probably. Film written and directed by Michael Mann. Just kidding. Elijah Bynum. The plot features social outcast bodybuilder Killian Maddox, who dreams of becoming a bodybuilder, consumes his entire life. His depression, aggressive tendencies consume him, and his obsession with becoming a Mr. Olympia champion brings him to a complete mental breakdown. The film stars Jonathan
that's
Majors.
what causes breakdown.
Yeah, this is not the story you made. Haley Bennett, Taylor Page, Harrison Page, Harriet Sansom Harris, and Mike O'Hearn. The film had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 20th, 2023. Originally slated to be released theatrically on December 8th of 2023 by Searchlight Pictures, the film was removed from its release schedule and dropped by the distributor in response to both the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike and the controversy surrounding Majors. Briarcliff Entertainment later acquired domestic distribution rights to it, and the film was finally released on March 21st of 2025. It has made $1.2 million. Nobody fucking saw this thing. Nobody.
Nor should they have.
All right, Robert.
Okay.
Here's my challenge to you. See if you can do this in 60 seconds.
So we follow Jonathan Majors' character. He's an aspiring bodybuilder. He competes a few times. He writes handwritten letters to a famous bodybuilder because he's mentally a child. He has all kinds of mental health issues. He tries to go out on a date with a coworker at a grocery store, and it goes badly when he just emotionally vomits onto her about the murder-suicide of his parents, among other things. He gets fired from his job because, of course he does, he gets into a confrontation with a local hardware store that painted the house he shares with his grandfather because his grandfather thinks they did a shoddy job and they won't redo it. So in a paint my chicken coop, make me set kind of scenario, or an obscure Simpsons reference, Jonathan Majors goes down, he trashes their store, sort of charges are filed. He gets jumped by the proprietor of that store and some other people later. Still tries to compete with a giant head wound. Doesn't go well. He spirals because the YouTube comments are mean to him when he uploads videos about bodybuilding. He buys a gun. He thinks about using it. He gets a return letter from his bodybuilding idol who then sort of rapes him? ?
In a marble quarry.
That was not sort of.
Just seems like a great place to do it. That's all I'm saying.
That's going on the list along with the Scrooge McDuck vault, I assume, at this point for some people. He winds up abducting one of the judges from his bodybuilding competitions who'd given him honest critiques and makes the poor fat old man pose because a young black man taking back power. Then he goes to his idol. He goes to his idol Bradley. Goes to his latest competition, and he thinks about shooting up the place, but he doesn't because we lack moral and artistic integrity to actually go through with the dark ending. He breaks down, sobbing with his grandfather, writes a final letter to his idol, disposes of his gun, and tries to pick up the pieces of his life.
And his steroids.
Oh yeah, he throws away his steroids. He won't be back on those real soon.
So I wish the world cared about poor people and children. It would make movies like this better because then people who actually existed in that world and were very much aware of it and felt it would then make better movies. My great frustration with a movie like this is for all the reasons why I don't hate it are probably the reasons you do. But because what this is this is talking about the utter collapse of many parts of Black culture. you have a situation where this boy is overtly traumatized, probably somewhere on the autism spectrum, absolutely has some sort of mood disorder on top of everything else.
I mean,
And
to the
if he wasn't drug exposed at birth, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
I was gonna say, like, the autism part of this is wildly obfuscated by the need of everyone to make everything autism these days.
Well, again, that's a whole other thing. And a TikTok, I've already addressed this.
Well, but which is why I bring it up here, because
Mhm.
it needs to be addressed, not because I think you're anywhere near off base. I just mean that the fact that so many people can't differentiate between other mental health issues and autism is troubling, because you have to handle those very differently.
So this movie wants to talk about generational, cultural, societal collapse in the Black community, but it assumes, and I think rightly so, the vast majority of people who are ever going to see this movie have never lived that life and will never live that life and won't really understand it. And so it has to do it with kind of a soft touch, which makes the movie lose its effectiveness. Like, I don't think you have to go full Dookie in the horse barn, but you had to do a better job than this.
Much.
And it doesn't. It's so afraid of the horror in that community that,
Well, because we've reached a point where
here's the
actually
thing, other movies have, like Precious, that's where it needed to go. It needed to go the Precious route.
You're not wrong. If I may throw the counterpoint, you couldn't make Precious today, which I feel really weird saying, but we've reached this weird point where you can't actually talk about the legitimate downsides of the Black community and especially like urban decay. Like, you can't actually talk about it because you'll be accused of being racist nowadays.
Or it'll be ignored. I think
Also true.
I think you have a better chance of not making Precious today because they think no one will see it than the possibility of being canceled because you said something terrible about Black people. Magazine Dreams, in much the same way, it's very similar to Queen of the Ring. They're both very afraid of their subject matter. Like, they want to talk about it, but in like the hollowed parlors of high society way. You know, it's kind of like in the, oh God, what was it with John Travolta, where they did the reverse of Who's Coming to Dinner with John Travolta and Harry Belafonte, that ridiculous movie where it's just like a bunch of rich people commenting about poor people in that we don't understand why you burn down your own community's way. That's kind of the way they approach this movie, where it's like, I want to talk about this, but not so deeply that I lose everyone. So instead, I'm just going to not talk about it as much.
It doesn't help that they don't care about bodybuilding. So again, we've got a character who is quasi-obsessed with this thing that the actual filmmakers like view from 50 yards out. Like, I've read the Cliff Notes summary of Pumping Iron, and that's what we're going with here.
I had a subscription to Muscle and Fitness for a few years. I know bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So it's like, on the one hand, they don't want to really reach out and deal with the collapse of the Black community. On the other hand, they don't want to reach out and deal with the horrors of the bodybuilding community. So instead, you get this half-pregnant movie that does both badly. And like, what the fuck am I watching here? And I was really waiting for a falling down moment. I was really waiting for him to shoot the bodybuilder or do something to the judge. Like,
I mean, I think I told you at the when we talked about this beforehand. Like, this is just like the worst iteration of Taxi Driver possible.
Yeah, the filmmakers want you to feel sorry for Jonathan Majors and all of his mental illness. Now, let me address that really quickly. Jonathan Majors playing a broken, arrested developmental 3-year-old in a man's body is super good. He's excellent at that. If you're not into that sort of thing, this is a rough watch. But that's what Jonathan Majors does. Like, everyone thought his portrayal of Kang at the end of Loki season 1 was retarded.
It was.
It's that energy, but well acted. He's really, really good at being this developmentally delayed human being.
Can't imagine why.
Stop it. That's not nice.
I'm supposed to be nice.
Jonathan Majors is a very good actor. He was great in Creed 3. He's great in this. The problem is, much like Queen of the Ring, this movie is resting entirely too much on his performance because there's not much else to this movie.
Let me push back a little bit on that. I don't think Jonathan Majors is a great actor. I think he's a good actor.
Okay, I think you're wrong, just for the record. Continue.
That's fine. We can disagree about this. I think Jonathan Majors is a good actor. Be very clear about that. I have given him praise in a few of his other performances, and whatever kind of human being he may or may not be is immaterial to the discussion about whether or not he's a good actor. He's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Intermittently, he's a very good actor. The problem with this kind of movie in general, you can't have a good to occasionally very good actor as your lead. You need a great actor. You need Daniel Day-Lewis. You need Philip Seymour Hoffman. You need a great
Leonardo
actor.
DiCaprio, somebody who is going to exhaust you by the end of this movie.
Yeah, you need genuinely great. There's a time period when Nicolas Cage could do this. I don't think we're there anymore, but there was a...
We're both going to be accused of being racist because we didn't name a single black person. So let's name a few. Denzel Washington, right off the top.
Denzel could.
Probably Will Smith.
Okay, and hang on. In the same way that I think Nick Cage could at a certain period of time,
right.
There's a narrow period of Will Smith's career when he could do this. That's true. Morgan Freeman's a good enough actor, but he doesn't do this kind of stuff. So
yeah. And everyone's going to be thinking Morgan Freeman now? No, stupid. Like Morgan Freeman.
No, like even the best. Oh, Sidney Poitier would have killed this.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like another intense black actor. Oh, fucking Forrest Whitaker if he were in shape.
If Forrest Whitaker could probably, if he could get into the right shape. Again, hang on. I mentioned Jimon Hansu, I think, at a period of time. Like, he's a little bit too old now, but...
Okay. Recast this if you need a modern actor. Recast with the guy with the Arab name who's going to be Wonder Man. The guy who was Candyman.
Yeah, I know. Yahya Abdul Malik III.
Yeah, he's...
Mateen. Sorry, Mateen, not Malik.
I think he could have pulled this off.
I think you get about what you got out of Majors with him. Give or take. I don't know. Maybe.
The fucking guy that they wanted to do Blade.
Mahershala Ali?
Yeah.
He's 60.
Is he? No.
50 at least.
Huh.
Look it up if you think I'm lying.
Okay.
Now I'm going to look it up because I don't want to.
Also, maybe a young and buff Samuel Jackson.
Let's see. Mahershala Ali. Hang on. Yeah, he was born in 1974. He's 51.
Oof. He's almost my age. Or I'm almost his age. Yikes.
Yeah. So.
Well, we're all over the fucking place with
anyway.
Timeline. Like I just said, if Forrest Whitaker were in shape and not 1,000 years old.
Fair enough. So anyway, point being, if you need for this kind of movie, I mean, I already mentioned like Taxi Driver, so you need like Robert De Niro, right? That's what you need. You need that kind of an actor. And Jonathan Majors
really lives in the part.
Yeah. And Jonathan Majors, physically, I commend what he was able to do to himself to get here.
Looks like he's going to explode at any given time.
And as I said, he is a good to very good actor. Unfortunately, between the weakness of the writing, the poor pacing, the editing that does him no favors, and his own limitations, it's not enough. And I hate saying that about a good to very good performance, that it's not enough, but given the structure here, it's not. And that may be unfair to him in some ways, because he's not out here sandbagging anything. He's giving his best. And his best is certainly good. But you put him in a position where he needed to be extraordinary, and he's not that.
Yeah, when I decided to do Magazine Dreams, one, I was looking for another sports related movie that was within the time frame to pair with these two movies, so there was that. No one else was talking about it. It got lost in the sauce due to everything that happened, which we already talked about. So good enough reason for me to kind of pick up a forgotten gem and dust it off and see what it's all about. But also because I thought we were going to get a movie about bodybuilding. It's like bodybuilding adjacent.
You could have replaced the bodybuilding in this with anything.
Yeah, this could have been about pro wrestling, to the extent that it was about anything besides, the brokenness of the black community.
This could have been about frickin' competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I don't care. You could have made this about anything.
Because fucking Pokemon, you got to catch them all.
Sure. Like, I mean, I wish I was joking, but like, recast this as a nerdy character. What's his obsession? Like, what is this mentally unwell person latched onto as their like coping release?
A better movie spends time in the bodybuilding world.
Much.
So, like, we know why he's eating the amount of calories. I think most people could infer it, but again, you have to make the link, I think, between. So other movies, so like there was a Mike Tyson movie, I think that was like straight to HBO, where Mike Tyson, like, you spent time with him as a child, like why his life was as broken as it was, why he withdrew to taking care of pigeons, and how he ended up in the stewardship of Gus
Customato.
And there's a bit where, there's a line, I think, in that movie where like he hits with bad intentions. Another one we did review, and it's a little bit more familiar to me. The George Foreman movie.
The once and future king, yeah. The once and future heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah, I think it was just like called George Foreman or something.
Yeah, Big George or something like that. But like that one, like you spent time understanding why George was mentally in the shape that he was in. And, it kind of walks you through boxing. You learn as much about boxing in the George Foreman movie as you do about dedication to worship in the church, as you do in what are some of the strengths and weaknesses at that time of the black community. That's how you had to do Magazine Dreams, and it doesn't do that. And so instead, it kind of swings the other way, where it's like, no, we want to kind of more do like a psychological falling down kind of a thing, where he's got this obsession, but he doesn't really have the mental scaffolding to hold it all together, and every hurdle is a slight, and every slight is a egregious injury. So by the end of the movie, he is just burnt and destroyed, and he's lashing out against the world. Okay? Except you didn't do that either.
Yeah.
He just, like, he should have died at the end. He could have gone on a rampage and died.
Yep.
We should have killed the grandfather, too.
Yeah.
Like, this should have been Job as told through broken, traumatized black kid. And watch him fail at the end. Frodo was good enough to fail. Why can't he?
Well, because, Mark, you understand, the black community doesn't need to be shown in a particular light in film these days. It's,
again, Precious. We have, though. That's the thing. The
dude,
Wire.
Precious is 20 years old.
And I'm going to keep talking about it.
Get over it.
Yo, I'm about to draw up a list of movies just as depressing as Precious. So anyway,
Oh, I almost said something real bad.
Last thing I'm going to say about this. There's a scene in the program where they're shooting steroids, and it always, like, because of my certain things really, like, visually bother me. I don't do well with certain images. I don't do well with certain aspects of the gross.
Just not a fan of needles.
Not the world's biggest fan. I mean, I can take a shot, and I've got several tattoos, but, like, do I really need an up close? It's like watching what's his face from The Substance eat shrimp. Like, I don't need to see this. This is gross. So watching him flex and shoot steroids and flex and shoot steroids and flex and shoot steroids, I was wildly uncomfortable, but not the way The Substance made me uncomfortable. Like, this was making me uncomfortable unnecessarily because they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Like, he collapses the one time, but he also had the shit beat out of him. Like, him sucking in all that air and, like, overextending himself. Like, I was waiting for him to burst a blood vessel. He should have. He doesn't.
Been nice.
Like, that. Like, I would have been grossed out and I would have probably vomited, but it would have been worth it. Like, film should make you feel something, and if it taps into my squeamishness and makes me feel grossed out, and horrified, then success. Yet another thing this movie doesn't do. This is like Half Pregnant, the movie.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it really should have spent some time with, like, okay, here's what bodybuilders do to get themselves in competition shape.
Right.
And some of that's horrifying. And it's okay that it's horrifying. We can still show it. Should still show it in many respects.
How do you not do a scene where he throws up after the date?
They didn't even have the balls to show him throw up before the competition. It's implied.
Right.
But no, they should have. There's a lot of things they should have done in this movie.
Like, he's gonna order all that food. I want to see him fucking shoving it down his throat. Like, okay, get the camera in his face. Let's get gross. Why he, like, does it, and I've ordered that much food. Hanging out with friends. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's sad. It's sad the girl walked out on him, but it's as sad as any girl walking out on any guy in a date after he's been awkward and weird.
Yeah. There's nothing.
This is like elevator music.
There's so many individual sequences here that I feel like everyone involved really thought, like, okay, this is going to land. And they never do. And because you have a series of shots that never actually land, you wind up with something that is just way off base.
Yeah, it's very weightless. And with subject matter that is extremely weighty.
Yeah, that's maybe the most important thing here. If you want to be frivolous about certain things,
what
go
kills
ahead.
me is that this thing won awards.
Of course it did.
That's the thing. Like, it's winning with people who don't. This is what I said right at the beginning of this review. I said, I wish more people understood and lived, or at least were aware of just how bad things can be in impoverished communities, not just the black ones, but impoverished communities. Because then a movie like this wouldn't move you sissy pants.
But to anyone from the ivory tower who likes to fetishize the plight of the underprivileged, this is great. This is their Citizen Kane, Mark. These are not people to be taken seriously.
No. I was trying to see if this won any other awards. It doesn't seem to have.
Again, you win a few, like, circuit festival awards that no one actually cares about.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to see, like, on the poster, even the one behind you and then the different one on the Wikipedia. I can't. It's like winner of, like, maybe a Palme d'Or or something. I don't know.
There's no way this won the Palme d'Or.
Won something. Hang on.
Does its wiki indicate what it won?
No, that's the problem. Okay, what awards did Magazine Dreams win? It won the Michael Mann Award. No. At Sundance, it won the U.S. Dramatic Special Jury Award for Creative Vision. It was nominated for a Grand Jury Prize for U.S. Dramatic.
Okay, so it won a glorified participation award.
Yes, and that is all over the fucking poster.
Well, because now you get to say I made an award-winning film.
Yes, you do. Now I will move on to doing a Marvel or a Star Wars.
These days, Marveling that may not fly with Marvel.
Well, so
quite as much.
A couple of years ago, this absolutely would have gotten you a gig at Marvel.
Oh, $1,000,000%. $1,000,000%.
So in the parallel universe where he's not accused of beating his girlfriend, this guy ends up directing Avengers: The Kang Dynasty.
And it's terrible. Just terrible.
Of course it is, but you know. All right. I think that that wraps it up here for a triple feature. Good show. I thought it was good conversation about these, and we managed.
Would have been better if Michael Mann directed it.
I hate you, and everyone looks like you. Speaking of which,
I'm gonna go watch Heat after this now, just because he's gonna be in my head.
Sad part is I actually have a Michael Mann with Ferrari in it triple feature coming up very soon.
What are your other two films in that?
Heat, and
you're doing that with Andrew, so yeah, Heat.
Yeah, it's Ferrari, Heat, and Collateral.
It's an interesting choice of three.
Yeah,
Ferrari's easily the worst of those, by the way.
It's the newest, and it's one that I wanted to do last year, and we never got to it. So
last year, when Adam Driver was still thought to be someone worth putting in movies.
Yesterday, myself and Jesse, my one true love, we did Predator, Killer of Killers, The Witcher, Sirens of the Deep, and my favorite movie of 2024, the best movie ever, the movie that has joined the winner's circle of Barbie, Poor Things, Fresh, and The Substance, Love Me. I heap billions of pounds of praise on Love Me, and I say that without the least bit of sarcasm. I don't know.
I assume Jesse just shook his head and
no, Jesse. I mean, he didn't gush about it the way I did, but he was just as excited to talk to me about it as I was to him. We had a great conversation about Love Me last night. I'm not kidding. Like me and my kids were all like cinema when it was over. It is a shame Love Me is as fucking weird as it is, and no one else will watch it besides me and William Bibiani, because it's so good. Like, I think it's good. You might hate it, but I think it's absolutely fantastic and marvelous. Just amazeballs.
I meant to ask you, what do you think of, I haven't watched your show yet. I need to. I apologize for that. But what did you think of Killer of Killers? It's a minor note.
My review of it was the animation and the art is the best thing about it. After that, it's just another Predator movie.
Okay.
And I think I'm kind of over the Predator franchise as part of the problem.
It doesn't help if they don't know what to do with it.
Other than the same fucking thing every movie.
Here's the thing. They're not even doing the same thing every movie.
I talked about that at length with Jesse about how I don't want to get into this now, but Jesse and I had a fairly long conversation about what the original Predator was, and then lived in universes, adding to lore, things like that. That's what it was Jesse's favorite movie of the three. We were both like, I loved Love Me, obviously. He loved Predator, Killer of Killers, and then we were both kind of kumsi kumsa on The Witcher. By the way, I talked about this. I didn't bother looking it up because Michael Mann directed it. What season are we in on The Witcher? Did we ever make it to season 3?
How in the world would I know? Hang on.
Aren't you in the cult of Kamille?
Well, he's not with the show anymore.
I know but I don't know if it's season 3 that he got kicked off of or the season 4 he got kicked off of. I don't know where we are. I know we reviewed.
Neither do they.
I know we reviewed 2 seasons of The Witcher, and then I completely forgot about it.
I think he filmed season 3, and then he departed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they've done season 4 yet. They made noise about it. Then they tried to do a spin-off that bombed horribly in every possible way.
I may have to, not be lazy and look this up. I'm trying to not to. Why wouldn't anyone talk to me about The Witcher? No stuff.
I didn't. I stopped after season 2. I didn't watch season 3.
How did all of us, apparently? Anyway, that was yesterday. So,
look, the nicest thing about Killer of Killers, by the way, Michael Behan gets to join the club.
Yes. So anyway, no show tomorrow, no show Wednesday, either by me or Alexis. Thursday was supposed to be me and Jesse talking vinyl. Vinyl isn't available anywhere anymore. except for on the high seas, and I'm not doing that. So I just told Jesse to watch it and tell me what he thinks. However, a new programming note. My girlfriend wanted to do a show. So we're doing an on trial for Steel Magnolias. Never let it be said that I will not give the ladies what they want.
Peace and quiet.
It's the other way around. Anywho.
I know, that's why it was funny.
Saturday, myself and Evan Bevins are doing
So wait, are you prosecuting Steel Magnolias, Mark? Are you going to talk about all the things that are bad about it?
I am going to do a show with my girlfriend, and that's all I'm going to say. I've never seen Steel Magnolias, so I don't know what I think about it right now.
Okay, fair enough.
We're going to watch it tomorrow. Anyway, Evan and I are doing a comic strip for Nimona. It's a Netflix animated movie that was adapted
really
from
good.
a award-winning graphic novel for kids. So we'll check that out.
It's a pretty good movie.
Speaking of comic books, this coming up Sunday, Jesse and I are going to read Day Tripper and talk about it. A week from tonight, another triple feature, and Robert gets the night off. Myself and Jesse and Mick, or probably just me and Jesse, we're doing Happy Gilmore 2, Heads of State, and the Thursday Murder Club.
Those are all so bad.
I've watched Happy Gilmore 2 finally. It's meh. But Robert will be on.
Look, it's just every Adam Sandler movie in the 2020s.
Yeah. Robert will be doing a Damn You Hollywood with Alexis on Tuesday the 16th. They'll be doing The Long Walk, which I think was the Stephen King adaptation.
It is.
Jesse and Alexis will be talking Stranger Things Season 2. And then a week from Thursday, myself, our new friend Kat, and David Wright will be talking Star Trek Strange New World Season 3. All right, Robert. Go ahead and tell us what you're doing this week.
So I knew I was going to kick a hornet's nest on Friday.
Did you say something not nice about AJ Lee, you dumbass?
I don't care about AJ Lee, Mark.
Not what I asked you.
That's what I said.
Yes, you did. Okay.
So
your inability to read a room or care about it never ceases to amuse me.
My job is to critique. My job is not to pander.
Okay.
So I critique. So the fact that this last episode of SmackDown opened with a 20-minute John Cena promo. Okay, I can live with it. Followed by a 20-minute John Cena and Sami Zayn match, which ends via effery when Brock Lesnar shows up.
Right.
So we just waste the first hour. It's John Cena's last SmackDown. Whatever his other dates are going to be filled on Raw. And it was cool to see him do his last SmackDown in the same building that he made his WWE SmackDown debut, because he debuted on SmackDown. Same building. Like, I get it. But John Cena playing the hits, doing moves from his old rivals. Like, he does an angle slam in this match. He does an ankle lock. He does Edge's spear. He tries to do an RKO because the crowd chanted for it. As soon as the crowd realizes what he's doing, when he starts playing, like, these are some of the things my famous rivals did when I wrestled with them. They start chanting for moves they want him to do.
Awesome.
So after he did the spear, they started chanting RKO because they wanted Cena to do the RKO. So he faked it.
Mm-hmm.
So we wasted the first hour. Then we had a kind of pointless and badly laid out Julia match. We had Damian Priest and Aleister Black, which was okay. And then our closing bit is like 30 minutes of Seth Rollins in the crowd trolling, Becky Lynch doing bad heat segments. I think lazy heat segments, I should say, not bad, lazy. She insulted every local sports team except the Bears, Mark. That's how lazy that was. Then CM Punk comes out, and I don't care about CM Punk either, for the record. I'm bored by Seth Rollins. I don't care about CM Punk, and I've been bored by Becky Lynch for a while now, too. So Punk comes out. He and Becky talk. Becky smacks him around and goes, "What are you going to do? Are you going to put your hands on a woman?" And he should have done a Chris Tucker and gone, my mother taught me not to hit a lady, but you ain't no damn lady, and then smacked her into the dirt. But he doesn't, because he's a good guy. And he calls out his wife, AJ Lee. And people go, oh, AJ Lee. She was around for like one of the worst eras of professional wrestling, but okay. Let's be nostalgic about this. So she comes down and she beats up Becky, and we're going to get Punk and AJ against Becky and Seth at WrestlePalooza. I wish I was joking about that name, too. Now, I don't care about a 20-minute John Cena-Sami Zayn match that ends in a nothing. I'm bored by Seth Rollins and have been for 10 years. I don't care about CM Punk all that much. He's never been my guy. I am not nostalgic for AJ Lee at all. So when all that takes up the vast majority of your 2-hour broadcast, my response to this is to give it an average score.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
If 411 Mania could replace you, would they?
I don't know.
Like, nobody wants to do what you do. The world has moved on, except 411 hasn't for some odd reason. So my question is, if they could go back to 20 years ago and find somebody who wants to be an aspiring internet writer and replace you, would they on SmackDown? Because you have for the past couple of years seemed to just fucking loathe the job.
I don't loathe it. Look, my goal is to be fair and honest.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes that means your show gets an 8.
Except that the product physically hurts you, apparently, and you are struggling.
Oh, no. You mean the cyclical nature of professional wrestling and what comes in and out of style, and the natural rhythms and highs and lows of a promotion would always match my particular desire for the genre? Oh, God forbid.
So my question is...
If your question is, like, do you think they want some tribalistic nut job who just looks at the letters in front of the promotion and phones in a number near to close to 10 every time, depending on which promotion he's covering? No, I don't think they do.
Okay. Fair enough.
But my response to SmackDown was, and I said this right at the start, like, for a bunch of people, this will be great. I'm not one of them. So I gave it a 6.
Okay.
And I got a death threat from Tony Acero, who, if you don't know, his gimmick for the longest time was he's in love with AJ Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I was less than thrilled,
I
got a kayfabe death threat.
Every one of you whines and complains about AI, except that everybody wants to see themselves reflected back at them, whether it's a machine doing it or you.
I'm aware of what they want. I'm also aware of what my job actually is.
I'm not telling you not to do your job. I'm just telling you what is.
Hey, I don't disagree with you. So again, I kicked that particular hornet's nest by going, you know what? Nothing about the emotional appeal of this show actually reached me, and I have to factor that into my rating.
Mm-hmm.
If you want someone who just gushes over, you know, a nostalgia pop, go read the other guy who gave it, like, I think there were other people going like 9s. Like, sorry, that ain't me.
Okay.
Also not the guy who's going to give AEW a free pass just because I like the fact that there's competition, or at least an alternative to WWE out there.
You see, they blinked and they decided to move their show 3 hours earlier.
Did they?
Yeah, they're starting at 3 o'clock now.
Their card for that is not strong enough to tackle anything WWE is doing that night. It's not there.
Yeah. Come on, wrap it up, Sonny.
So if you're interested in that, I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling. WWE SmackDown on Fridays until somebody over there decides they don't want, they're not interested in my traffic generation. UFC events on Saturdays. This last Saturday was UFC in Paris, UFC on ESPN Plus 116, featuring technical difficulties, because of course there were, from ESPN, because reasons. But it was a good night for the French. They went 5-0. I was joking. It was a good night to be a French fighter in that card. They went undefeated. My full reports in the MMA zone. I also give it a review on the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast, where I also preview Noche UFC 3 coming your way this Saturday with an earlier start time because they really don't want to try and counter program Canelo Crawford since, you know, Dana White's promoting that.
Oh, real quick, I'll be TikTok live during that at 9:00. I will be on TikTok, face forward, watching the fight, telling you my inane thoughts.
And I don't know when the UFC event should end in time for the main event. So if you desire companionship on that, I will watch Canelo rob Bud Crawford on the scorecards. Because
You're not going to come on TikTok, though.
I imagine. Well, I don't know. If this streams to TikTok, I would.
This doesn't. You have to actually go on the app, and I have to let you into my live.
Oh, that's a bit much.
I understand.
But again, if you really want the company, I will do it for you because you're my friend, and I will make that sacrifice.
I'm always willing to have you come on. At least you're not going to pull your ass out on the fucking stream like some other kid did. I let a kid on, and because they look for streams that they can fuck up, because I don't have a moderator. The kid comes on, and I can't get to it in time, and I can see him pull, like, here we go. He starts to pull his pants down, and I'm like, damn it! And I gotta block him real quick.
The internet.
Yep.
So
I can't wait for the aliens that are coming to kill us all. I really can't.
Why do you think it's going to be aliens?
Facebook tells me so. Wrap it up before I say something else inane.
So you can find me covering that again. So this week I will be covering SmackDown on Friday and UFC event on Saturday, and I will definitely be watching Canelo Crawford. And I don't know what's wrong, but I wanted to make a really bad joke there.
Okay, well, while
we talked about the collapse of the black community, so watching a Mexican rob a black man basically at gunpoint via the help of the white judges is just exactly on brand for the movies we've been reviewing.
I was gonna say, now all you have to do is plan a bank heist, and you've got a fucking Ocean's movie. It sounds like.
Yeah, but then Canelo or Crawford would have to be likable.
Fair.
And neither of them is.
All right, folks. This is Damn You Hollywood by way of triple feature.
Yep.
For Robert and his wonderful wrestling coverage that everyone loves him for. And for me, in my lamenting of the black community, as I often do, be well, be safe, and behave.